Hello again. This is another design where we're going to use an elastic band to make a vehicle move. But instead of twisting the band, in another video in this series you may have seen how to make this elastic band roller, and we store energy by twisting the rubber band. For this design we're going to stretch a rubber band. So this is a useful resource to have at hand when you're teaching forces in primary schools. To make it, we're going to use a really useful technique that I use a lot when I make things. It's using this square section wood, which comes in 60 centimetre lengths, and we glue it together and then reinforce the joints with carved triangles. As I said, this is a really useful technique if you want to build structures and frameworks, things like bridges. Let's start off by making the main chassis of the stretched band racer. I've got two pieces of square section wood here. This is 8mm by 8mm wood, and these are about 26 centimetres long. The exact measurement isn't important. And I'm going to use a glue gun. You could use PVA glue, but you'd have to set it aside for half an hour to let it dry. So I'm going to use a glue gun. This is the lower melt type of glue gun that takes the oblong glue sticks. This is the type of glue gun that we recommend for use in primary schools. So I'm going to start to assemble the frame now. And there, and then the fourth piece. You do have to be quite quick with these lower melt glue guns. You've only got about 5 seconds to get the framework assembled. Let's just clear a space, which I should have done. There we are. So that's the main framework finished, and we're going to reinforce that using these carved triangles. You can make your own, or you can buy these ready-made. So we're going to put glue on these two surfaces. When I'm working with pupils, when using glue guns, I always ask them questions like, what would be safer, to hold the carved triangle and put the glue on there, or to hold the wood and put the glue on there? Which would you do? And obviously it's safer to take the latter option, because your fingers are further away from the glue. So the furthest away you keep your fingers from the glue, the safer. Very carefully put the carved triangle on and work our way around to do all four corners. There we go. Very careful not to get your fingers on the glue. The glue sticks that go in this glue gun melt at 100 degrees centigrade. There we go. We can make it even stronger by gluing another 4 triangles onto the other side, but I think I'm going to stick with that. Next thing we're going to do is to make the bearings for the axles. We're going to use 5mm dowel for the axles. Usually I would use pieces of jumbo straw and run the axle through the jumbo straw. For this design I'm going to use card axle supports. Again, you can make these, especially if you've got a hole punch out of bits of card. But again, you can actually buy these ready-made. As an example here. We need 4 of these. So these are called card axle supports. And I'm going to glue them on near each corner. I think I'm going to use one as a spacer, so that they're all going to end up in exactly the same position. So I'm going to put some glue on there. And just use that as a spacer. There we are. And again here, put some glue on glue that one on. And the third one, so I'm using one axle support as a spacer to save me having to measure it all out. And the last one, glue guns can be messy. These streamers are entirely harmless because they've already cooled down. And there we are, there's the 4 axle supports in position. We're now going to start assembling the wheels and the axles. We've got 2 large wheels for one end and 2 smaller wheels for the other end, and I've drilled these out so they should be a tap fit. Should be able to tap the bike lift out in. There we are. And we pass it through the axle supports, and if I've got my measurements correct there should be enough sticking out at the other side for the other wheel, and we'll tap that on. There we go. There we are. Leave a little gap, make sure the wheels spin round fairly easily. We've got quite a lot of power with this rubber band, so I'm not too worried. There's quite a lot of friction there, but I'm not too worried about that. The reason I'm using these large wheels is mainly for their weight. A larger diameter wheel is going to make your racer travel further, but the main reason I'm using them is because they're heavy, because I want to, this is going to be the driven end and I want it to be weighed down. The other end we're going to use smaller wheels. This is the undriven axle. And we'll pass that through the other axle support. And tap that on. Make sure there's a little gap. I've gone a bit too far. I'll just back that off a bit. There we are. And so hopefully we've got a nice free running racer design there. And now to make it move we're going to use a rubber band. In this case this is a number 24 rubber band. All rubber bands have got a code number. It's worth learning a few of them. For the elastic band roller earlier we used the number 18. This is a much longer band. If we use it like this then that's too powerful and it will just cause the wheels to slip. So we're going to cut it and just use it as a single strand. At the front it needs to be fixed. We could tie it round, but a quick way of doing it is just to loop it under a drawing pin and then just tap a drawing pin in, or you should be able to you might even be able to push it in. Yeah, there we are, I can push it in. Okay. Now the other end, you've got a choice to make. You could leave it loose and fix it onto the axle by holding it, and then as it winds up it's going to trap itself and that should hold it in place. The advantage of doing that is when you test your racer, when you release it, it should move, and then when it gets to the end it will carry on freewheeling because the rubber band will actually come off. In this case I think I'm going to fix it on with a little bit of sticky tape. If you do that it does mean that your racer will stop when it gets to the end of the band. So there we are, that's the finished racer. And we wind it up by turning it. How much you turn it you soon get to know. Obviously if you keep on turning the rubber band will snap, and then when you let go that will turn the wheels. So that's my very simple stretch band racer design. To wind up our racer we need to wind it so that the wheels go anti-clockwise. how much you wind it up without the band snapping is a matter of practice. This is quite an old rubber band, so I expect it to snap any minute. I think that's the most I dare risk. And now we'll see, it's not going to go a great distance, probably 2 or 3 metres. Here we go. That's not too bad at all.